Welcome to Goonie's World. My name is Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined by Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello and good evening.
And our GM, Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hey, hey, hey.
And we've got Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest. It's the good Dr. H, also known as Zach.
Well, hello, everybody.
He's back.
Zach is back.
I'm back.
Yay!
I'm back.
And he's pissed.
There was mild rejoicing.
Well, we're going to rejoice small because everything we do is going to be really small because tonight we're just little mice after all. Because we are playing Mausritter by Isaac Williams. System-wise, it's based on Into the Odd, but it adds resource management and spellcasting and combat at various scales and some other stuff. I don't know how much of that stuff we'll get into in the 6 and 7 total hours we'll be playing it over the course of this series, but we'll see. We'll also use some material I've lifted from the Bernpyle zine by Matthew Morris, which is a great Mausritter zine, and Chimney House by James Hanna. And the music for this series is by Codebox. And thank you, Codebox, for making such awesome music available free for anyone who wants to use it for whatever reason without any permission. I love that. This is what we did with it. Anyway, Mausritter means Mouse Knight in German, and the heroes of our story are mice. They live in Bernpyle, a mouse city that's been built into a massive debris burn pile. There's about 1,200 mice that live there, but let's meet 4 of them. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves in character and try on your voices and tell us about your characters before we begin our adventures. And I'm going to go in the order you guys rolled them up in. So that means we're going to start first and throw our special guest out into the harsh glare of the spotlight. Zach, can you tell us about your character?
Yeah, man. I totally can. So, my character, his name's Willow Pip, and he's just like a cool, laid-back mouse man. Like, not a man, but a mouse. But, he has this amazing fungus farm, and that's what he does. Like, he just kind of sits at home. He's got a wife. He's got 4 little adorable mouse children, Button, Chantrell, Puffball, and Morel, that he provides for by growing mushrooms and the kind that you eat, and then maybe the kind that you maybe eat a little bit of to go on a ride and stuff. But at the end of the day, man, he's just all about making sure that his family's taken care of and keeping all the bad stuff away, man, both out in the world and in his mind at the same time.
Awesome. I'm feeling more laid back already. Could you describe his appearance for us?
Yeah, man. He's I'm a pretty tall and pretty big mouse. I eat a lot of mushrooms, man, and just it makes me big and strong and stuff. But totally dark brown, man, nose to tail, from top to bottom. The only real remarkable thing is I got these amazing dreadlocks, brah, that grew out of the top of my little mousy head up there, and they just kind of waggle in the breeze, just chilling what they do.
Nice. Okay. And then I think the second person to roll up their character was Ryan. Ryan, can you tell us about your little mouse?
Oh, I could. Are you sure you want me to?
I'm absolutely certain, yes. Don't be shy, little mouse.
Oh, well, my name is Simon Maker, and I'm a rather small and timid little mouse. So I don't like loud noises, and I run away from things. Typically, is how I respond. But I am a solid color, just tan, so many suburban houses. But my fur has been shaved very close to the skin, so I'm really more of a bald sort of mouse. I'm very kind, very generous with my time and resources, but also rather wrathful, which seems strange, a strange combination, but that is the birth sign of the storm, so that is how we roll, and I think one of our other friends may have some similar sort of proclivities, but anyway, yes, that is, I don't really have much of a a profession like our friend Willow, who is very fungally inclined, even going so far as to name his children after various spores. Or mycelia, I suppose. Mycecilia.
No,
mycelia. Anyway,
nice.
I don't know where that came from. Anyway, yes, but so I don't really have. I just want to go on adventures, really. I suppose.
Okay, that sounds great. And then Goonie, tell us all about your little mouse.
A fennel, a whiskey wisp. A fennel wispy whisks is my name. Fennel wispy whisks, and I am a boy mouse, and I have gray marbled coat and a very, very tiny body, and but my background is a message runner, with a very, very fast, and but my birth sign is the mother, which is nervous, nurturing, and I think that about sums me up.
Okay. And finally, Lynn, tell us about your mouse.
Hi, I'm Squeaky McSquirmels, and my background is a pauper noble mouse, which I'm not really sure what that means.
I think it means you may have had, like, noble blood in your past, but the family certainly doesn't have any more money, you know.
Oh, well, that's terrible. That's terrible news. Money's good, so maybe that's my motivation is, I really enjoyed, I see how all the other noble noble mice, yeah, and I don't, because I'm a pauper, so, yeah, I do share some of the same qualities as my friend Simon. I was also born under the storm sign, which makes me usually pretty generous, but I can also be wrathful. And I have a beautiful, shiny, glossy black coat with bands of brown around it. And I have a little special, unique thing about my tail. It's tufted. So it's a little fluffier than your standard mouse.
I believe you wear a raspberry beret, is that?
Oh, yes, that is true. I also have a felt hat, which is a raspberry beret.
And when
It's not a real raspberry?
Not a real raspberry. It should be. It should be a little raspberry cap. But,
I was thinking that too, actually. I thought that would be really cute.
well, when it's warm, she doesn't wear much more. So, well, we've met our mice characters. And, you mentioned money and not having any. Money for you mice is called pips. And Bernpyle, the city, is a very wealthy city with a lot of pips. It is ruled by the Earl Francis Seedfall and his 6 Cavalier Sparrow Riders. There was a great war with the frogs a while back, the Frog Wars. And I think that Simon Maker was once a Sparrow Rider, but he's also fairly timid, so I see him more as like the manager of a basketball team. Maybe rubbing down the sparrows and whatnot back then.
Well, I think his experience as a Sparrow Rider is kind of what he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, yeah.
That ain't for me.
But anyway, it's a safe haven here in Bernpyle for all of mouse kind. But Bernpyle was established by rats, however. They abandoned it long before the Earl led the mice here during the Great Dislocation before the Frog Wars. Although, ironically, even though the rats abandoned it, they now, don't appreciate that mice have moved back into it. But the economy is booming here, and there's trade with smaller mouse communities like Stumpsville and Chimney House and River Run. And the realm is mostly at peace. There are rat bandit gangs lurking around out there. There's a evil bird everybody calls the Black Shrike, but it doesn't come around that often. There is rumored there's a terrible, terrible cat named Balthazar far to the north of here, but he's never come down this far south. And there are even fairies who are beautiful and bizarre and creepy. But the Queen of the Fairies has a treaty with Bernpyle. She has a treaty with the Earl. Despite this, most mice like to avoid fairies because they're illogical and capricious and have terrible magic. By terrible, I mean bad, not like terrible like dangerous, not like pulling a handkerchief out of their sleeve forever or whatever. But the Queen of the Fairies, in fact, helped the mice in the Frog Wars, which drove all the wicked frogs into the marshlands. And some of you may even have fought in those wars or been around the edges of them. But as I say, the land is now mostly peaceful, and the economy is booming. It is raining pips in Bernpyle, and maybe you guys can get your little paws on some pips.
Hallelujah.
And you know each other well, we're going to say, and you've gathered in the town square of Bernpyle, where there are several dozen mice coming and going. And suddenly a ginger mouse, well, you recognize from around town, you don't really know him. Ginger mouse, the green cape and a little green jaunty cap. He's a little bit stout as well. He rushes, or waddles more likely, up to you. Oh, you there. Are you the one they called Fennel Wispy Whisks?
Yeah, a Fennel Wispy Whisks.
Excellent. And I see you've got you're a big burly fellow, he says to Willow, giving you an unwelcome squeeze of the muscles on your biceps.
Yeah, man, we're all special in the Great Mouse's, world here.
Yes. Well, I understood that Fennel, you used to be a messenger, a runner, yes?
Oh, yes, very, very fast.
Well, it just so happens I could use a runner and perhaps some troubleshooters as well. But let's not stand here and talk about it in the town square. But hush, don't you know? Can I buy you all a thimble full of cider at the cider house?
Well, yeah, you certainly can. I love cider.
If you can drink a whole thimble.
Oh, well, I'll try.
Okay.
Did they serve hard cider or soft cider or both?
Well, it depends on the time of day, I suppose, but I'll have a hard one, and you might need one, too. Anyway, if you want to follow him... by the way, I don't know, did I introduce myself? I'm just that flustered. I'm Lance Humdinger, he says as you walk into the cider house. He snaps his fingers, and they goes over to a corner table. They set down some thimbles of cider and a little platter of bread and cheese. And now, he looks at the cheese sorrowfully. He goes, oh... Eat that cheese. It could be the last you get for some time. You see, I'm the purser of the Cheese Sellers Guild, yes? And he looks both ways, and he lowers his voice. Our cheese delivery from Stumpsville has not arrived yet, and it's so late now that if there was a legitimate reason, well, a runner could have been there and back and brought word by now. So the guild fears that something's gone horribly wrong. But...
Do I know this runner? I don't know. I might know this runner.
Do you know Steve?
Well, I know about three or four Steves.
Yeah, it's Steve the Lesser. You know him?
Oh, no.
Well, the point we were going to send him, but then he said, "No, you should talk to Fennel Wispy Whisks because he's the greatest messenger of them all, and
everybody knows me,
and he's got some tough friends." That's what he told me, and that's why we're talking to you. We don't want to alarm the powers that be until we have some certain knowledge of what exactly happened. I mean, can you imagine the panic in Bernpyle if there was a cheese shortage? I mean, we're mice.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
I know.
I can't think of anything worse.
Neither can I. Now, you eat that cheese and you eat it good. Now, my cousin Casson, he's one of the 6 cavalier mice who ride the sparrows in the company of the Earl. Now, if you could bring intelligence of what stopped that shipment, well, then he can recommend you to the Earl as mice of enterprise, trusted with bigger missions and greater rewards. We'll just hope that nothing terrible has happened there. Now, as you know, it takes a good 7 watches to get all the way to Stumpsville in a cart. Now, a watch is a unit of time you guys use. It's 6 hours long. There's 4 of them in a day. You usually got to sleep for at least 1 watch, in the day. And we measure a lot of travel and other things in terms of watches. However, as you runners know, if you take the footpath, You can get there in 3 watches. You could get there rather quickly and find out. Oh, do say you'll do it. Of course, you know, pips are rolling right now, and we could always arrange something, but the real reward would be an inn with the Earl. Now, what do you say, friends?
What do you guys say, fellas? I mean, we don't want a shortage of cheese. That would be. We got to do something.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to help. If there's any way to keep them from having a shortage of cheese, because I like it so much.
Well, we all do. If we don't have cheese, we're a goner. It's the end of the world.
Yeah, man, like, absolutely, though. Like, I know we're going to get, you said Lance, right? That was your name, man? Lance, right?
Well, it's Lentz, actually. Lentz.
Oh, I'm so
Lentz
sorry.
Humdinger.
You know, it's like you're all the way down there. I'm all the way up here. Right? It's hard to hear in
Yes,
busy establishments. But, like, I'm pretty high up here right now, man. And, like, but you said we get an inn with the Earl, but not to worry about the pips, man. But I got a whole little, like, group of kids waiting for me back at the farm, and I gotta have at least some pips for that.
Yes,
I mean, you gotta some sort of like assurance of something, man.
Well, I can understand that. We all had little pink-mouthed feet at one point. I've got 17 myself. More keep coming and more keep coming. I don't know what makes it happen, but well, who am I kidding? It's that fertile wife of mine. But no, I suppose I could provide a small purse for any expenses you may incur. And he gives you each 4 pips, which is not much. Because you guys often, this street that you're on where the cider house is not far from some armorers and weaponsmiths where you always see stuff in the windows that you can never afford. You know, like, but all of you are armed with some decent weaponry. And now, it's not me to tell you how to do your business, but I wouldn't be too leisurely about your journey. You get there and get back. I think if you take the footpath, which you should know, Fennel, yes, you runners know all the footpaths through the earldom, isn't that correct?
Yeah. Oh, I know them all.
Okay, well, if you could get there, find out what's going on, get word back to us, and then we can get you perhaps a little bit larger purse, depending on what's happened.
Okay, so just to summarize, we there was a shipment of cheese that was supposed to be coming, and it didn't come. And you want us to go up to what was it, Stumpsville?
Yes, that's right.
And find out what happened.
Absolutely, you've got it. And when you've got it, you've got it. It's early days, yes. If you hurry, you could get there. Well, a little bit after dark. You may have to camp at least once, but I'm sure you're very handy and capable. I wouldn't worry about going anywhere in the company of this big fellow. And look at this Simon over here with his huge 2-handed sword. I think you'll be fine out there.
Well, is that enough for Willow? Because if it's not, he can have some of mine to make sure he comes. Because I wouldn't want to have to fight anything without him around.
You know, man, like I don't like to fight. I really don't like when things come to violence. But I also understand this, like a mouse eat mouse world, man. And like sometimes you just gotta lay down. But I got my trusty big old spear here, and I'll protect you, my little friend. Don't you worry.
Don't mention rats. It makes me shiver to even think of rats.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Lentil. I won't do it again, bro.
Well, if you guys want to, you could grab your stuff together and make your way out into the big world. Go down past the garrison where the war band of mice lives, and the sparrow stables where the Earl's Cavalier Sparrow Riders are. And soon out into the large world outside of Bernpyle. And you can see some watchtowers in the distance. They're actually frisbee golf, goals. What do you call those, Zach? You play a little disc golf, don't you? Yeah. What do you call those, goals?
Boy, sorry. No, those are baskets.
Baskets, yeah.
You guys want to turn this into a disc golf podcast? We could do that.
Yeah, it is. It's Disc Golf World, starring Zach. Their watchtowers are, in fact, the disc golf baskets. You can see those off in the distance around the south. Even though you guys don't think of it this way, and you never really think about humans that much. They're very rarely ever mentioned, but obviously they're around. Most of the stuff you have, they made, and you've repurposed. But even though you guys don't think of it this way, this is actually like a public park and a disc golf course and everything else, part of this earldom, and some walking trails and whatnot. But to you, it is the earldom and the realm where you have your adventures, or you hope you do, so you can get some pips, so you won't be so impoverished anymore. Now, over the course of the first 6-hour watch, which is how you kind of measure your time, starting off together, on your first journey together as a group of friends, you leave Bernpyle behind and you head down a steep hill and climb a fallen branch that gets you over an old stone wall that giants made. And then past that you go under some hedgerows where the rabbit family lives, but they must be out foraging right now because they don't say hello. And by the time of the next watch, where you've been walking for about 6 hours, you cross the mud flats west of the marshes, and you pass the old termite-ridden oak tree and through a field of flowers with coneflowers and wild columbine and milkweed just towering above you. And in fact, up there in the blooms, you can hear the droning of a cluster of bees doing their bee business. But about the end of that watch, you're feeling a little hungry, a little peckish. You've been walking all day, so imagine you want to sit down and have a little snack together. So go ahead and mark off one use of your rations on your sheet. There are 3 little dots on your rations icon, and you can just mark one of those right off as you enjoy a meal. By the third watch, it's getting on in the afternoon, and you leave the flower field, and the path runs down a muddy embankment to the creek, capital C. And by now, the sun's rays are slanted almost horizontally. It's late afternoon, almost evening. And red lights, or red sunlight's reflecting off the ripples in the water of the creek. But it's a pretty gentle little creek. And there's a path of flat stones that you have to jump here and there, but you guys could easily get across it that way. And you got to think about camping soon. But when you're about halfway across the creek on the middle stepping stone, suddenly a huge frog leaps out from a stand of cattails on the opposite bank, and he jumps 24 inches through the air. You're amazed. And he lands, boom, pretty close to you, right just one stone away. And then leaping out behind him is another little one. Now, the big frog, he's armored up a little bit, too. He wears a bandit's cap, and he has this huge two-handed sword that's made from a green shard of glass with a little bit of string wrapped around the bottom for a hand grip. And he's making a great big smug smile on his overweight face. And then the little one next to him has a club that's just festooned with thumbtacks that have been, he's adhered them to it somehow. They're all pointing and sticking outward. And, "Oi, this is a robbery," says the big one. "All right, little mice, now give up your pips, and there won't be any trouble. Otherwise," and then he draws like a finger across his throat and grins real big with his blubbery frog lips.
We better do what he says. He means business.
Joke's on you, froggies. We're poor.
Whoa, man, let's just all take it cheesy here, man. Like, it doesn't have to come to this. Like, we're just like humble travelers of the world, just moving through. As you can see, man, we don't have much. Like, you just stay over there and do your froggy stuff, and we'll stay over here and do our mousy stuff. And like, you can get someone who'll come through in a bit. They'll have way more for you than just this ragtag nothing we got, man. We're just simple farmers and stuff moving through.
Well, you're going to be as simple victims if you don't give up those pips. You think we frogs have forgotten about the frog wars. Maybe some of those frogs what ran away into the marshes forgot all about it. But we remember here. And I'll tell you, the marshes will rise again. Hey, so, are you going to give it here, or we're going to have to get nasty? And in fact, if you need a little extra convincing, and he says, "Slurp!" And then from that stand of cattails that was on the opposite bank, another frog who's smaller than him pokes out. He's began about 24 inches away from you. He's got like a convoluted crossbow he's made out of an old mechanical pencil, and he grins real big. And all right, so now you're covered at range, and you're covered with me up in your little mousy grill, right? So what's it gonna be, little mice? Go ahead and listen to your frightened little friend and give up the pips.
I'm just curious. I'm not very good at history, but who won the Frog Wars?
We didn't lose. It was a tie.
Oh.
If it hadn't been for those fairies, you'd have been dead, and you know
That's
it.
an interesting perspective.
Well, we don't have much pips. We kind of need our pips. We're on a very important mission. We're going to have to spend all of the pips for stuff. I'm warning you. We will defend ourselves. We're all armed, and Simon has a big sword, but he'll probably run away. But if he does, I'll get his sword and I'll fight you.
You'll fight, Little Frankie, and then the one with the thumbtack club, who must be Little Frankie. And, of course, the one with the, mechanical pencil crossbow must be Slurp. And this guy, you realize now, you've heard of the rat bandit Bubba Muggles. This must be Bubba Muggles. He's supposed to be a little bit bigger than usual, a little fatter than usual, has some hangers on. But Bubba Muggles, a Little Frankie, that one right there, and he points at Simon. He goes, lift up his arms and frisk him, and get real thorough, if you know what I mean.
Well, you can't let him do that, Simon.
I don't like where this is headed.
Well, Little Frankie walks towards Simon. What do you guys want to do?
So yeah, this I carry around this spear, right? And I always envisioned it was like a cigarette holder, like an old-timey lady cigarette holder that I've sharpened down one end, which is to say it's an effective two-handed spear for a brawny little mouse like myself. However, also could function kind of like a blowgun or something like that. And so I think at this point, to maybe try to diffuse this situation a little bit, just going to work up a nasty, cheesy spitball and just give it right, shoot one right in the face of that dirty old Slurp back there by the edge.
Oh, okay. And, yeah, you do, and you don't have to roll for it. Now, it's just a spit wad, so, it doesn't do, a lot of damage, but I think they should at least do some impaired damage, because you're shooting it out. It's got a lot of trajectory coming through that long pipe, and I think it's a great way to inaugurate things. But, yeah, it looks like some dice are going to get rolled. So go ahead and roll a D4 as this hardened spitball zips out, goes past Bubba Muggles and Little Frankie, and hits Slurp right in the face.
That's a 4.
Oh, my God. Slurp cries out, ah! Staggers back into the cattails, falls down on his butt.
So there's just a big old cheesy mushroom smoking spitty old mousy spitball right in that dude's face.
Gross, he says. You want to see gross? I'll show you gross, says Bubba Muggles. And his tongue flies out of his mouth. He doesn't use that big sword, but his tongue flies out and pops you right in the face for 3 points of damage, Willow. And now it's on. Now those two have already gone. We're going to have the rest of you. Who wants to jump in first here?
Well, I think Simon would, simply because he's going to run.
Ah! That's right, run away.
Get back here, Simon.
Simon, ah!
Well, he hasn't gotten to the point where his, wrathfulness has kicked in yet, so he's just taken off, and he'll get pissed and turn around here.
Yeah, they're going to be sorry when. But yeah, Simon turns around and flees. Fennel, what do you do?
Well, gosh, I'm gonna. You mean Bubba Frog? I'm gonna use my sling, and I'm gonna sling a little pebble at Bubba.
Okay, now you're pretty close to him. So ranged weapons don't do so great in melee, but you can still do impaired damage. It's better than nothing, which would be a D4.
In that case, I will probably shoot it at taking Willow's lead, I will also
Yeah.
attack the Slurp.
Slurp?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, and he's still dazed from the spitball that just hit him in the face. And now a rock comes flying in.
All right, and we're just rolling damage because we
Yeah,
always hit, right?
Yeah, we're in the sort of, this is basically into the odd, but there's some important differences, as we'll find out. But yeah, your sling.
And that'll be a 5.
Okay, well, that's terrible, because you guys can surmise from your own hit points about the level of hit points out there in the world. Poor Slurp has been hit so hard that he has taken critical damage. However, when a frog takes critical damage, what happens is, well, they have to save for it first, to see if they can still remain up. And he does. 'cause
It
he
doesn't
rolls-
croak.
They croak. Oh, that's great. Now, what they do is they leap out of distance and out of range and out of combat, and it's so frustrating because Slurp, although he's not a problem for you now, just leaps up and just where God only knows where he goes. He just jumps and you get him screaming, "You coward!" says Bubba Muggles. And then what do you do?
Squeaky.
Squeaky, what do you do, Squeaky?
Squeaky McSquirmels. I'm going to use my flail. I have constructed a flail out of, those little spiky sweet gum
Oh, yeah,
thingies
yeah.
that drop on. Yeah, so I've constructed a flail out of one of those and some string. So I'm going to hit him with that.
Okay, well, here in front of you, now Slurp has jumped off and run out of there, but little Frankie with the thumbtack club is still there. He's the one that had approached Simon, and then Bubba Muggles is still there with his great big smug grin and his great big green broken Coke bottle glass sword. Who do you want to hit?
I want to hit that mouthy little butthead.
Bubba Muggles,
That's right.
the one doing all the talking. Hit me with your best shot. I'll get off on it, he says.
Ooh, 5.
But, that flail swings in and hits Bubba Muggles. Now, he takes, he's got his armor on, right? But he still takes 4 HP. He loses 4 HP. And, now the look on his face is not quite so smug. It's their turn. He immediately hits you back with the great big sword. And you see that. First time I roll a d10, and then what do I roll? A 10. So I think that he hit you badly. Now, remember that HP does not represent actual wounds. It's bumps, it's bruises, it's you losing stamina. Nevertheless, I believe you have, like 6 HP?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your strength?
Strength is 12.
Okay.
I do have light armor.
Okay, good. So
I can at least soak one of those.
yes, you've taken 9 points of damage. You lose. So you need to roll a 9 or less because your strength is now down to 9. You've lost all the HP and it's cut into your strength. Your strength is, you've lost 3 points of strength too. If you roll a 9 or less, you can avoid critical damage.
I did not.
Sounds like you did
roll.
not.
I
Oh,
rolled a
no.
15.
Oh no. Poor
Oh my
Poor
God.
Squeaky. She flops to the ground on the rock in the middle of the creek. And then little Frankie goes,
Oh, you're gonna pay for that one, buddy.
and he actually hits Willow, because Willow is bigger and, a bigger threat to him in his mind. And he pops out with that, and he's only holding it one-handed at the moment. Because does a frog have a paw? What would they have? Anyway, but he smacks. He only does 2 points of damage. You lose 2 HP there,
Okay.
Willow.
That will take me below my max.
Oh no! So how far below? That's how much strength you lose.
1.
Okay, good. So whatever your strength minus 1 is,
Okay.
go ahead and roll that or less on a d20 and see if you can avoid.
I rolled exactly that.
Okay.
11.
That's exactly what you need. So that's good. You're still up. You're still at them. And that's it, though. That's their turn because Slurp has gotten out of here. And now, meanwhile, you've been running, Simon, and you can hear You turn around, no, you see Squeaky go down. You see Willow get hit with the thumbtacks. Is that enough to spark your wrath and rage? Or
yeah, I would say for sure. Yeah. So now, when he ran, I was imagining, and you told me if this was realistic, but I was imagining he ran forward, like past them, rather than back towards. I don't know if that even makes a difference, but that's what he was intending to do.
Okay.
I know that the big. I can't remember his name. The guy that leapt off dramatically when he got critical damage.
A slurp, yeah.
And I'm not sure what direction he went, but it doesn't. That probably doesn't matter either, because whatever direction, I don't have any ranged weapons. But at that point, I think Simon would turn around and charge back into the fight. I don't know if he has enough time to actually get to anyone at that point. But.
He does, because you can run 12 inches, and you hadn't gotten that far away. You'd only been running for a round, right? So you can turn around, splash back through the water. It's shallow enough right there near the rock that you could have gotten around them. In fact, we can imagine that when you ran earlier, Bubba Muggles probably made a half-hearted swipe at you as you ran past. But suddenly, Simon comes alive and crying out and rushing back in with that big broadsword. Who do you hit? You hit little Frankie, or do you hit Bubba Muggles?
Well, I believe little Frankie was the dude who was cackling maniacally.
Yes, he was.
He's the misfortune of my fellow storm sign.
He's a toady. Get it?
Aha. Right. Now, are we calling this a two-handed greatsword? I don't have any armor or anything.
It is a D10 weapon.
That's what okay.
Two-handed.
That's what I thought.
Two paws.
Oh my God!
Do we have another 10?
Yes, we do.
Another big fat 10. Well, you hit little Frankie hard with it, and actually it cuts way into his strength. He loses all 4 of the hit points right out of the gate. He's not wearing armor, not little Frankie. And so that's cutting into his strength by 6, and he only had a 10 strength, so he's got to roll a 4 or less, and he doesn't. He rolls a 13. He crumples, and in fact, he falls into the water a little bit, and he's not going to drown because he kind of floats over, rolls over onto his back, and just starts floating away on the current of the creek with little X's on his eyes. He's not dead, but he's messed up. Technically speaking, he's supposed to leap away, but I'll have some drama there. And now Bubba Muggles stands alone. And, I think, what are you going to do, Willow?
Willow, all right, brah, like, we gave you the chance and you neglected the opportunity to just stand down and choose love. I'm going to give it to you one more time. You run away, you drop that weapon, you run away now, or you are going to get the same thing that all your other mates did.
He stares at you for a minute. And then, much like Christopher Guest does in A Princess Bride after hearing, the speech, he stops, turns around and suddenly runs. In fact, he hops and he leaps. You haven't seen the last of Bubba Muggles. I'll get you eventually.
Your mother was a salamander, brah. Get out of here.
But he's been too intimidated. He's going to have to go fish little Frankie out of the creek. He's going to go find what happened to Slurp. He'll probably beat the shit out of those guys to make himself feel better. But you guys have luckily avoided any further trouble with these bandit frogs. However, you guys are hurt. And now, we all know the end of the odd, you take a short rest and all your HP come back. But that's not necessarily the case here. A short rest, which just takes 10 minutes, you can get D6 plus 1 HP back. And you can get that right now. But to restore any loss to your attribute scores, you have to literally rest for an entire watch. And that's 6 hours. And then that will bring back D6 to an attribute score like strength or whatever. And if you ever just want to take that full week of rest, then everything comes back. Now, I don't suggest you do that right this second because time's of the essence, but if you rest for about 10 minutes, you can at least get D6 plus 1 hit points back. or HP is hit protection, not hit points. And you might just have to live with a little bit lower strength for a while until you can go to sleep tonight and rest. But it's getting on towards evening anyway, so maybe that is not a terrible idea. Probably ought to get out of the middle of the creek first, I imagine.
Well, let's find a good place to set up camp and get rested up and healed up. Boy, those frogs, nasty.
Oh, no. Some crawdads come back out to sun themselves on the rocks after this little bit of turmoil, and you hear them muttering about what's becoming of the neighborhood these days as the crawdads begin their sunbathing and their moon bathing because it's almost night. Now, you look around for a good place to camp, and you have to move a little bit through the the forest on the other side of the creek. The forest floor here is almost spongy, with decomposing leaves. But up ahead, there actually is a tangle of brambles. And that always makes a good camping place for a mouse because, you can get in there into the tangle, but larger predators, can't get in there and get you. And that might be a good place to rest up.
But those brambles look like a very good place, and but we better watch out real good because those bandits could come back, and we don't. I don't think frogs are as nimble though, so they probably have a hard time getting in the brambles. But we want to make sure we set a watch.
One bit of housekeeping.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that before Bubba Muggles hopped away that he dropped his item or his weapon, or did I imagine that a little bit? The Christopher Guest sort of running away. Princess Bride dropped the sword, run away.
I think that's kind of funny. I don't remember if I said it or not, but I did say it was just like that, and I think in that he did drop the sword. So I think there's no reason why there shouldn't be a great big two-handed sword. Also lets us look at the resource management aspect of this game, because does anyone have the room to carry a big two-handed sword? You need both paws free. Of course, you got 6 backpack slots and 2 body slots and 2 paw slots. But if anyone wants to take it, you can. I do think it's funny if he dropped it.
Well, I don't think I could handle a two-handed sword. I'm just kind of hang back and sling stones at the bad guys type of mouse. But somebody should. We would be dumb not to take a weapon like this. Somebody pick it up.
For sure, we don't want to just leave it here so he can hop back up and grab it and come back after us. I could throw it in my backpack; it'll fill me up. But then just got to eat some mushrooms to make some more room.
That's right. Well. That's right. Well, if you guys do want to eat dinner before you go to bed, you don't have to eat more than 1 ration a day, though. But if you want to get your sleep, we can say you set a watch and you get your sleep. Now, overnight, if you sleep for 6 hours, so roll a d6 and you can restore that much to your strength. And all your HP will be restored by the time you wake up. But then a d6, you can roll that and restore that to your strength. Because HP loss you don't have to worry so much about into the odd family of games. It's when they start cutting down into your strength that things get scary. But you can still go on. Is everybody feeling right back up to full, or is everybody still a little bit stiff? Everybody's good?
Yeah. Back up to full. I imagine Willow, as he's a little bit of a bigger mouse, right? So he had to kind of squeeze his way through some tight passages there in the brambles into the middle. But once he got in there, had some nice mushrooms, maybe a little microdose to help him, get some extra sleep over that watch, and
sure,
maybe some mushroom tea, or I imagine him having some sort of I don't have this written down in equipment, but it's all narrative. Some sort of a little, almost old pipe, like an old inspector pipe, anyway, old pipe that he could smoke some dried mushrooms in, just sort of narratively, and
okay.
Always trying to tweak new variations and put them together to see if he can get the best blend for the best relaxation effects and things of that nature.
Well, you guys wake up to the smell of the mushroom pipe. And if you want to have a nice big breakfast, go ahead and mark off another rations off of your meal plan, your meal ticket there. Go ahead and scratch one right off. Oh, one thing. If you did use your weapon during the game, or during the last fight, roll a d6. I almost forgot about this, and it's an important part of Mausritter. Roll a d6 if you use your weapon at all, and if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, mark off a usage on it. But if you roll 1, 2, or 3, don't worry about it. And
Roll the 2.
So, because eventually this stuff's gonna, break and have to be fixed or abandoned or get a new thing or whatever.
How many uses do we have?
There's 3 uses on each of those weapons. They're the little dots that are on the little icons
Yeah.
that you put on your character sheet. You just mark off one of those dots. And so, I don't want to forget about that. And you guys remind me of that in the future.
Just so you know, on those character sheets, we can't actually mark anything.
You can't actually mark the dots?
Not
Okay.
not the dots. I didn't see any way to do that. but
Okay.
I am keeping track of it.
All right, that's good. I'm sure you all keep track of it. Yeah, we're using a Google Sheet that somebody made that allows you to drag and drop the little item cards and condition cards. The Mausritter itself is a very tactile game with some bits and whatnot that we're trying to replicate with a Google Sheet. So we'll see how that goes. Those of you who play probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But you wake up, you get a nice full meal, you check on your weapons, and once Willow taps out his pipe, you can move on through the forest. And again, there's been a lot of growth here, and it's almost that spongy surface of decomposing leaves. And of course, little mice like you don't make a ton of noise. But up ahead, after walking for not that long, just a couple of hours, certainly not an entire watch, you see a mighty stump that's all by itself. There's a small clearing. The only other thing near it is a weeping willow tree that kind of hangs over it to where there's almost like a roof over this stump, but it's not the stump of the weeping willow. It's just the weeping willow's branches and spread is so great that it hangs over the stump a bit. But it's obviously the city of Stumpsville, and there's a tunnel entrance that's there, but everything's very, very quiet. Very quiet here in Stumpsville. You guys want to approach the entry tunnel, or what do you want to do? I'll let you tell me.
Well, but this is the place. Kind of ominous when it's so quiet. But I suppose we should.
Yeah, man, like, if this is where all the cheese comes from, man, you'd think that you'd hear all the commerce and stuff of making cheese. Like, this is not right. This is not right. There's some bad juju here. I can feel it.
No, you're right. And one other thing I guess you'd notice is I mentioned there was another way to get to Stumpsville, that they could take little carts, the mice could. And you see that road leading off, too. That would have taken you much longer. You guys kind of cut across. We could walk. But yeah, if you want to approach the entry tunnel, it's between 2 elegantly intertwined roots. And there's cart tracks and little mouse footprints all over the ground there. And you guys go into the entrance. There's a rat skull laying right on the floor over in one corner. And
Well, I think that's a proper deterrent.
yeah, certainly to rats. Does anybody want to mess with the skull or pick it up and have a speech with it like Shakespeare, or you want to move on?
To cheese or not to cheese? That is, yeah. Yeah, I think we're okay.
I'll drop a little pellet on the top of its dome.
Okay. You do a little bloop. Pellet. Eat.
Squeaky can give it a little buff with her tail on the way through.
Okay,
Like
okay. Do you want to give it a little buff with your tail?
Sure.
Okay, well, when you touch it at all, it's wired to a large boulder in the wall, which comes rolling out. Everybody make a dexterity save.
Oh, look, I'm so sorry.
Dex or less. And if you don't, then that boulder comes back and catches part of you, tags you. And I rolled low, though. That's good. For 4, does 4 HP of damage to you if you don't make your dex save and jump out of the way from the huge boulder. Anyone that get hit by it?
I did, and that will knock Willow out again.
Okay, well, is he at 0 or is he below?
At 0.
At 0's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just fine when you're at 0. And you might still be fine even when you're below your strength. It's just a matter of whether you save or not. But yeah, that sucks. No one else got hit though, right? Okay.
I successfully dodged with a 9.
Okay. Well,
Man, I should not joke around in the future, bro. We should just calm right past it. That's my bad. That's my bad, everybody. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you should make jokes all the time, and it's a very serious business, and nobody should be touching schools of anything. We gotta be smarter and more careful.
Well, point taken, bro. I'm so sorry. So sorry. We'll be fine.
And this is like the big main entrance to their whole city too. So you certainly realize something's probably wrong here or not normal. That's probably not always right in the path of the main entryway. It's a wide tunnel. It's half dirt and half wood up above you. At the end of it, there's a stone gate that's blocking the way, and there are actually twin guardian statues on either side of the gate, like little hero mice. And but they've been defaced, like their faces have been chipped off. And the gate itself is stone. It's actually a big, massive slab of slate, and there's an iron handle right in the center of it. As you look closer and closer at it, the hinges of the gate have actually been chiseled away, and there's wooden pegs knocked in behind it. And so I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I don't know what happened here. It was something bad.
Yeah, it's a little. I'm not sure. Maybe we should go back.
Well, but that's well. I think I want to go back, but I don't think we can. I think we have to see what happened here.
It's like, bro, Simon, man, you gotta get a little bit of courage. I don't want to have to tie our tails together to keep you from running away and stuff. Like,
I don't know how you stay so. Rather, I should keep my accent. I don't know how you stay so mellow all the time.
God provides. God provides, and he kind of shakes his little bag of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And it'll get you a long way.
It's the mushrooms that provide him. He's addicted to mushrooms.
Well, could I get a little nibble?
Yeah, man. That's like a really uncool thing to say, Fennel. Like, geez, man, we're here in front of this big door trying to figure out this mystery, and you're taking shots at me.
But,
and man, I love you, bro. Man, you just got to be cool.
Well, I love you too, but because I'm concerned about you. I'm very nurturing and worrying, and you consume a lot of mushrooms all the time. There's always on.
That's how I get so strong, man. So big and strong.
Well, I think
makes me beautiful.
I need a little bit of mushrooms, and I think.
Yeah, Simon, take some of these, Simon. These are the real good ones.
I think Fennel could use
the more psychoactive ones.
Yeah,
maybe. So
after half an hour, you vomit, and then you talk to your dead ancestors for a while. Then dance around like Jim Morrison around the rim of the stump with no clothes on. But no, we'll see. You chill up a little much, and they have a relaxing quality. But how do you want to get past this gate? I mean, you could open it, but now you might be a little paranoid though after the thing with the rat and the skull and the boulder.
And the mushrooms.
Yeah, mushroom also make you paranoid.
Someone's obviously removed the hinges, chiseled them away, and the door's pegged up in place.
I mean,
from pegged as in from this side affixing it away from us?
Wedged in. Wedged in on this side so that you now that you're looking at it real close and asking these kind of questions, you realize if those pegs were to be removed, the whole thing would probably tip towards you. You start to suspect it's some kind of trap that will make this heavy slate fall down on you if you were to pull on the knob. If you were to remove those pegs somehow, you could just make it fall down if you could do it from a distance or whatever, but it's tricky.
Did anyone know how to remove the pegs? Well, and tie something to them and pull them.
What if we found some growing things that are long, and we can make a little braid out of them so it's stronger and use that as a rope?
Yeah, that might work.
Yeah, I mean, that's a super good idea. I mean, you could even just tied to the handle, and stand far away and pull it if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be a matter of just 20, 30 minutes tops for you to go back outside, find some corn silk or whatever, milkweed pods,
Right.
weave together a little rope, right? And if
Yeah.
anyone wants to put milkweed rope in their inventory, they can add that. You can be resourceful and make things too.
I think I will.
Okay. And so yeah, what do you want? And then tell me how you use that rope.
Well, we're going to have to lasso the handle or something. Or well, I guess we could just tie it on there and without pulling it, and then
Yeah.
and then we stand
Yeah.
back and we pull it.
Yeah, I like that. That's just what I was thinking.
Okay. Well, you stand back, you tie it on, you stand back, and you pull, and yes, the whole door tips outward. It would have smashed you guys or hurt you pretty bad had you not been more careful and observant. But once that's open, you can see that the pathway leads to a great open courtyard. And the stump itself, is mostly hollow, so there's not like a roof on it, right? It's like open to the sky up above you. Looks like you're in the bottom floor of Luke Skywalker's house on Tatooine, right? He's like goes up for a while, and then not quite that vertical, but you can see a large open courtyard. The air here is really still and cool. There are 6 little wall-mounted houses. There are struts and ladders right up against the edges of the interior of the stump, and you can hear some off-key music, like someone who doesn't know how to play music on a flute, perhaps, and you hear some cackling, but it's coming from all the way across the other side of the courtyard somewhere. Somebody's busy, somebody's in the mouth. The cackling, though, does not sound like a mouse. In fact, it sounds like a rat. And there's a deep, dark pond right in the middle of the whole place, and an open tunnel, like I say, on the opposite side. And there's these little houses that you could look into, and there's the pond that you can investigate. There's actually like a plinth, like the base of a column or a statue or something, sitting right at the edge of the pond, but there's nothing on it. And again, there's the sound of somebody badly trying to play a flute and the occasional cackling, and those sounds are all coming from the tunnel on the opposite side of the courtyard. That's the setting we're in now.
Rats. This sounds like rats.
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about this at all.
I think we should approach carefully and sneakily if we can.
Yeah. They might be able to smell us. Maybe we should rub something on ourselves.
Perfume. I have perfume.
You do.
We could use a little bit of my perfume to disguise our regular natural scent.
Yeah. Let's get perfumed up. What's the scent on that perfume?
It smells like roses.
Oh, okay. We'll just go in to smell it like roses.
Spray a little cloud, walk into it, right? No, I don't know if you have a little spray bottle, but there has to be some human contraption that would be small enough that you could fashion a spray bottle out of. If you can make a crossbow out of a mechanical pencil, or I imagine. But so, smelling like roses. Where do you guys go? There's the little house. There's the houses that are built up on stilts around the edges. There's the pond. There's the tunnel. Where do you go?
Does it look like the houses could be easily, like, are there steps that go up to them?
Yeah, there's like ladders,
right?
ladders that go to little walkways and whatnot. You could investigate the houses, investigate the pond, or go into the tunnel. Are really your 3 choices.
We should probably at least poke our noses in these houses, dudes. Just make sure there's no danger, like sleeping rats up in there, and that we don't get ambushed.
Well, yeah, but I've got my eye on this pond because I think something was on the. Someone was. Didn't you say there was like a? Was it a pedestal or something?
Yeah,
or
like a plinth. I had to look that up, actually.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not British. But, yeah, it's a plinth. So you guys want to split up a little bit? It's when you look in the houses, somebody else look at the pond?
Yeah, I mean, we could
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter if we want to do... I mean, I think we should investigate everything. It's just
Okay.
a matter of what we do first. And is that
right.
pond, like, the closest?
Yeah, it's probably the closest thing, yeah, looking at my little picture.
Because I thought maybe something was... Like, maybe a statue or something was standing on the plinth and got knocked over into the pond, and I wanted to look into it.
I mean, you've already seen 2 defaced statues. And as you look at the houses up along the walls, you realize Willow's right about one thing. It would be a great place for someone to lurk in ambush. They have a perfect field of fire on you right now if there were people, if there were any rats or anything nasty hiding in them. But you go up and take a look at that empty plinth, this dust and a little bit of rubble there like something's broken off. And you look down into that deep, dark pond. But you do actually see a murky shape. You just scrape off a little bit of the algae or whatnot that's formed here. But you can see that there's actually a gold leaf statue of a great mouse hero. It's actually Isaac the Warrior, who's one of the most famous of all, the most famousest of all mouses. There's a statue of him that someone's pushed down in there. And there's actually like a leather bag you can just see at the bottom of the pool.
Well, we're going to fish that up. Where's that rope that you made?
I got it right here.
Well, on second thought, I don't know if that's going to work because we got to have a net or something. Or maybe I have to go dive into the pond to get it.
You want to dive in?
Well, I bet there's all kinds of stuff that would eat me in there. But
Oh man, we'll cover you, bro. I'll just go.
yeah.
Go.
You could tie the rope around you so that
Yeah.
if
You could
something happens, we can pull you up.
Yeah, you just yank me up. Okay, I'm going in, guys.
Okay, well, you do it. Shoosh. And you start swimming down in, and you want to, like, what, tie the rope around the statues so everybody can pull it up? Or
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to tie it around me, so...
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay.
That's whatever.
I think he's going
yeah,
after
I was
the
going to give it
going
to
after the
Puny
bag.
to-
Well, if you want to grab the bag first, it's easier to move, for sure. Well, even underwater, if you grab the bag and you peek in, if you can't help it, you can see it's full of pips. It's full of pips. Big fistful of pips.
Yeah.
And then this statue itself, you can see down here now, it would take, one of you could carry it. It would take like 4 slots, but you could carry it around. And it's gold leaf, though. I mean, it's probably worth hundreds of pips. You start to think about all those items in the armorers and weapon shops you couldn't afford before, and so that's something right there.
Yeah, I think I would just grab the bag and leave it at that.
Well, you grab the bag, and as you pop up out of the water, of course, you probably splash jumping in and all that. And but you hear you've been in there for about a turn, about 10 minutes. It's how we measure time and check on the movement of other people. But you hear, oh, I'm a sexy rat, oh, I'm a sexy rat, and stumbling out of the Great Hall entrance, the tunnel down to their Great Hall, all mice have a Great Hall somewhere, is a very, very drunk rat. He's so drunk, he doesn't even look in your direction at first. You guys aren't like hidden, right? But he just stumbles right outside and goes over to the space underneath one of those houses that are mounted on the walls and pees, and up against the wall. And then he stops and what would he do? Do you guys do anything while he's peeing?
Probably freeze in place, almost like a picture, just like stop.
Yeah.
And hope that he doesn't see us because he's so drunk.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He is.
I'm gonna just, while we're doing that, I'll put my finger up to my lips and everyone's quiet and we're still.
If there was a picture for this episode, that'd be it right there, right? But he turns around. He's drunk. He's at a disadvantage to notice anything, but he's gonna Make a will save. Ah, man. He rolls twice and picks the worst one because he's got disadvantage. So, had he not had the disadvantage, he would have noticed you with a 5, but he doesn't because he's drunk, so he rolls an 18. And he stumbles back into the Great Hall, and you guys are left alone once more. Yeah.
That was close.
But I've got a bunch of pips here. Big bag full of pips.
Yeah,
We should probably find some cover and get out of the open, man. We got real lucky right there.
Well, let's try those houses. We can count these pips.
that's a great idea. If you would dash to the closest of those houses and scamper up the ladder and get in there real quick, you can see it's been trashed. The bed's been turned over and kitchen implements are scattered all over. There's some pots and pans on the floor, but one of them is a really, really, really nice griddle, like a really nice one made of copper. It's probably worth 10 pips just by itself. And if anyone wants to, it takes up an inventory, someone wants to grab a nice copper pan that you can do some frying in. You do see Pierats live has been written on the wall in feces. And it's spelled Pierats, but obviously they think of themselves as pirates. And you find that there's 140 pips in that little bag.
Go.
That's big money. But as you count your money underneath the Pierats Live logo, I think we'll go ahead and just fade out right there for this episode. And next episode, you can check out the rest of these houses, and eventually you'll probably have to go into that tunnel where the drunk rat was. And I hope the rest of the rats are as drunk as he is. We'll find out next time on Goonies World.
Hey everyone, if you like this podcast, consider leaving us a good rating and/or review, and subscribe to us wherever you can. We've got a YouTube channel and a Discord server, as well as merchandise available at TeePublic. Find our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. You can find all those links and more at Linktree/GooniesWorld. Thanks for listening.